Hey, how's it going, everybody? And welcome to another exciting episode of Channel X, the only show on Thursdays that starts the weekend early. I am your host, Tom Dog 247, and as always, I'm Tom Dog all day and Tom Dog all night. Woo, baby, all right. So, yeah, this is our SNL special. This is our SNL special. I've been meaning to do this for a long time now. Even back when I was doing this show on cable access. This is how long I've been wanting to do this. Um, Even back when the 20th anniversary onward, um, it has been something that I've been wanting to do for actually no the 30th, from the 30th onward. I've been wanting to do this show for since Channel X's official run, and yeah, I just kept holding it back. I don't know why. Um, I really don't know why I didn't do it sooner and everything like that. It was on my list, even back then, but I don't know, just didn't happen, you know. And even with the 40th last year, I would say about a decade ago, back in 2015. Um, I know I could have done it then, but I didn't. Um, so so now it's the golden anniversary of Saturday Night Live, one of the most longest running sketch comedy shows of all time. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to be spending this entire episode talking about the history of Saturday Night Live, um, reviewing the movie behind it. I did not see the docu series, so I won't be talking about that. But I did see the movie. It's Saturday night. Um, Saturday night rather. Very good show, and I mean very good movie, by the way. But we'll talk more about that later. Any other the other news and everything like that, we're gonna hold off until a couple of weeks and everything like that. And yeah, because we got some plans lined up and everything like that. And so I might do some bonus um shows to get that going and everything like that. So yeah, um the chat is open. We're gonna um we're gonna be pretty much reminiscing on time one of the most iconic um moments in our history, which is of course Saturday Night Live. The controversies, also some times when they almost got canceled, all that good, all the interesting stuff, and even some factoids that you may not have known about as well too. So we're gonna be talking all about that on the show tonight. So um, I did something. Heard a noise, but might have been from outside. But before we do that, let's do the shout outs and the plugs and everything like that. Um, so yeah. Big shout out to Leo and the gang over at the Dorking Podcast Network. If you all the shows there are amazing, including one of my personal favorites, Splash Pages. Check them out every Tuesday. Um, it's an awesome show. Um, you can check them out on the Darkening YouTube channel that they have on there. If you're watching on YouTube and everything, they have a lot of cool stuff. They do. Excuse me. And I've been having a busy day today, but yeah, definitely check them out uh, because the shows that they do, that everybody does on that network, it's really really awesome, and you don't want to miss out on that. So, but yeah. Um, Also, big shout out to Carrie, Raz, and the rest of the gang over at the Owl Light Network. They have some really cool shows on there too, including Uncle Necros, Suma the Terrible. I've been on there for a few times already, and it's a wonderful show every Monday, and you don't want to miss out on that. Some reviewing some of some movies that are good, bad, and in between, and yeah, you definitely want to check this out. So check them out on the Owl Light Network, wherever you find your favorite YouTube, wherever you watch YouTube, whether it's on the television or on your computer or on your phone. Make sure you have that uh, on your playlist. Also, Melly Playful and Tengu over on YouTube as well. And if you like watching people watching watching people play video games, then Melly Playful and Tango are the ones for you. Check them out, and you'll have a good time playing the games that you love, and you'll have a good time. So check them out over on YouTube over at Melly Playful and Tango. And this episode is brought to you by W Energy. What is W Energy? It's not this, I can tell you that, because W Energy is a whole lot more. It has no sugar, no artificial colors, flavors, or dyes, and no chances of you crashing. Like I'm doing. So, so if you don't want to wind up like me, do the smart thing and go to w.gg right now. Use that promo code BRILL to save 10% at the checkout on your purchase. You punch in that promo code at the checkout, you'll save 10%, and you'll love all of it. Oh boy, yeah, I'm tired today. I've been very busy, very very busy. Stupid me forgot to do this. I just want to do it. So yeah, no word on Mojo after what happened on the Super Bowl. So I hope everything's okay with him. So hopefully I'll get to hear from him soon. So, so yeah, got a new character. Got a new character. Be on the look for this little guy. So real soon. He is, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest member um, of my team. This is Harry Blue Ballsack. So yes, his name is Harry Blue Ballsack. So everybody gets to get a chance to meet him and everything like that. He is really really cool, and he'll pop. You never know when Harry Blue Ballsack will be popping in. We never know. We'll never know. So yeah, he's the newest character to to my band of misfits, along with, of course, Mojo and the Nutcracker on the holiday season. Um, and then, of course, um, Donald Trump. Uh, rival. So, never understand what you never understand what he's saying. And of course, the face hugger. But yeah. Oh yeah, I gotta do it proper, not grab him by the tail. I gotta do it like this. There we go. Yeah, that's right. We do. He pops up every time he pops up every time I urge people to face hug that subscribe button. And of course, my happy banana, but he won't be here tonight. Sorry. My happy banana is not going to make an appearance tonight, but because of the fact that Harry Blue Ball Sack has made an appearance. And they work so well together. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I know it's not. I know it's not the the New York thing because I'm from Connecticut and don't at me on that. So what is it about Saturday Night Live that the show just keeps on going? Been around for 50 years. Their anniversary they premiered on October 11th, 1975, and yeah, it's one of those moments in history um that where people never thought that um the show would not make it, especially with people that nobody knew about. And and yeah, this was a risk and everything, but Lauren was determined to make something, to make nobodies into somebodies. And yeah, and it was because, and most of the, most of these, most of the cast members, between now and then have made a stunning career, um, follow through that, with the exception, of course, being Kenan Thompson, who already had a run a long time ago, as a child actor on Nickelodeon, starring in All That, and then moving on to Kenan and Kel with fellow co-star of All That and good friend Kel Mitchell. So yeah, it was a it was so yeah, and Kenan Thompson, and one thing about Kenan Thompson, I know he is the first SNL cast member to be on there the longest. So it's not often you would see an SNL cast member last that long. And Keenan, he has done a tremendous job. of being the seasoned veteran of that show, and yeah, he has become quite popular. Um, even after even even after his time on Nickelodeon, he became even more popular on when he signed on to join SNL. And it makes me wonder if all that was at the time was actually the you know something that Lauren Michaels was interested in. I think it would have been a lot better than who actually ran the show, which was Dan Schneider, and we won't talk about him because we talked about him a lot last year. So yeah, it was a wonderful thing, and gotta I mean kudos to Keenan for being on there that long, and so I hope he stays in there. I hope that run continues, because you're never going to see a cast member um, that's that long as well as Keenan Thompson. So yeah, he's a very popular SNL cast member and everything. So yeah, but um, but the original cast consists of John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Gilda, Gilda Radner, Garrett Morris, Chevy Chase, um, Jane Curtin, and I think there's like two more. Um, let's see: Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Chevy Chase, Gilda Radner, Garrett Morris, Jane Curtin, and Lorraine Newman. So yeah, that was the original. That was the seven, and um, so yeah. Um, so here, one of the things that that made the show unique, um, even back then, was of course the was was of course Chevy Chase, and um, they did a bit um, a long running bit where Chevy Chase um would would be put in a spot where he would always fall, and then he would kick it off the show by saying um live from New York it's Saturday night. And so yeah, this was a pretty interesting moment. And but it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And so but there was one moment where Chevy Chase um wound up breaking his arm after a fall stunt went wrong. He landed on his arm, and if I'm not mistaken, it was a um the cold open where he, as Gerald Ford, was decorating the tree and everything like that, and he fell over and landed on his arm. I could be wrong and everything, but it was still pretty good. Um, and so the impressionists of impersonating the president of the United States has always been controversial, even for back then. Um, they either hit or they don't, and so yeah, it was. So so yeah, it was pretty interesting. Um, so here is the list of sitting presidents that SNL cast members have portrayed during their time on SNL. Starting with Chevy Chase playing Gerald Ford from 1975 to 1976. Um, then Jimmy Carter um, was played by Dan Aykroyd, 1977 to 1979. And Joe Piscopo from 1980 to 1981. Ronald Reagan was had a pretty big list of names. Um, Charles Rocket um, played Ronald Reagan in 1981. Joe Piscopo played him from 1981 to 1984. Harry Shearer, I believe he was I think he was a cast member. Yeah, I think he was I think he was a cast member. Randy Quaid, I know he was a cast member. Um, Robin Williams, I believe he's the only host to have um, to play him. Um, well, Joe Piscopo, well, Charles Rocket played, as I said, played him in 1980. Played Ronald Reagan in 1981. Then from 1981 to 1984, Joe Piscopo played the role. Then 1984, Harry Shearer. Randy Quaid did it in 1985. Played Ronald Reagan in 1985 and 1986. 1986, that same year, Ronald Reagan, Robin Williams played Ronald Reagan. Then Phil Hartman, when he came in, he played him. He played Ronald Reagan from 1986 to 1989. The most iconic, during that time has to go to Dana Carvey from 1989 to 1993 for playing George H.W. Bush. And then Bill Clinton was played by three cast members: Phil Hartman from 1993 to 1994, Michael McKean from 1994 to 1995, and Darrell Hammond from 1995 to 2001. George W. Bush was played by five people. Most famous from them is Will Ferrell from 2001 to 2002, Chris Parnell from 2002 to 2003, Darrell Hammond in 2003, Will Forte from 2004 to 2006, and Jason Sudeikis from 2006 to 2008. I don't remember him playing that. I'm more fond of either Will Forte or Will Ferrell. Barack Obama was played by two actors: Fred Armisen from 2009 to 2012, then Jay Farrell from 2012 to 2016, and then from 2017 to 2020, Alec Baldwin, of course, played Donald Trump. Joe Biden was played by Alex Moffat in 2021. James Austin Johnson took would take over in 2021 to 2023. Jason Sudeikis would come back to cameo Joe Biden from 2007 to 2021. He well during his time, Jason Sudeikis would whenever he would come on whenever he would come on, he would play them. Mikey Day from 2023 to 2024, then Dana Carvey in 2024, and James Austin Johnson is currently playing Donald Trump during his second term. Um, Fun fact, another fun fact. Chevy Chase was the first cast member to host Saturday Night Live. Um, 5 times, and he was the first cast member to to uh, to launch the Five Timers Club, which is that if a guest hosts Saturday Night Live for a record of 5 times, they get a jacket um, and a bit in the which is known as the Five Timer sketch. Um, Former cast member um, the former cast members um, that are currently in the Five Timers Club are Bill Murray, Tina Fey, Will Ferrell, Kristen Wiig. Um, also, um, Martin Short is the most recent member of the Five Timers Club, having hosted the show back in December 2024. Um, during the current season. Um, the show's 22nd season. Um, where seven of the 20 guest hosts of SNL were former cast members. Um, the the host during the 22nd um, second season was of course Dana Carvey, Robert Downey Jr. Yes, Robert Downey Jr. is a former SNL cast member. Phil Hartman, Chris Rock, Martin Short, um, Chevy Chase, and Mike Myers. And but I don't remember Martin Short being a former cast member. Julia Louise Dreyfus was also um, a cast member of Saturday Night Live, and she was the first former female cast member to come back to host the show, hosting it near the end of its 31st season in May of 2006. Um, there has been two cast members who have hosted the show prior to joining the cast. That of course being Billy Crystal, who joined. Um, he hosted the show twice during the ninth season prior to joining the cast in the 10th season. And Michael McKean hosted the show in the 10th season and joined the cast in the 19th season. McKean is also another fun fact there. Michael McKean is also the only eventual cast member who first appeared as a musical guest with Spinal Tap of May in 1984. Eddie Murphy um, is the only cast member to have hosted the show while still being cast member. He is also hold he also holds the distinction of having the longest gap between successive hosting of the show, with the second and third hostings of the show having been 35 years and 6 days apart. Adam Sandler and Dan Aykroyd tied the record for the longest gap between leaving the show as cast member and returning as a host. Both hosted the show for the first time in 9 days shy of 24 years from their last appearance as cast members. However, both made appearances during the show during the gap. Bill Murray, though, holds the record for having the shortest gap between leaving the show and returning to host at 287 days after leaving the cast. Um, so the list of Former SNL cast members who have hosted: Fred Armisen, Dan Aykroyd, Fred Armisen, Dan Aykroyd, Pete Davidson, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Farley, Will Forte, John Lovitz, Norm Macdonald, Mike McKeon, Kate McKinnon, Seth Meyers, Mike Myers, Andy Samberg, Adam Sandler, Paul Schaefer. Paul Schaefer being a band member. Sarah Silverman, Jason Sudeikis, and Damon Wayans all hosted the show one time. Billy Crystal, Bill Hader, Phil Hartman, Tracy Morgan, Don Novello, Amy Poehler, Molly Shannon, David Spade, Ben Stiller all hosted the show twice. Jimmy Fallon, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Eddie Murphy, Maya Rudolph all hosted the show 3 times. Dana Carvey and Chris Rock both hosted the show 4 times. As mentioned, as the Five Timers Club, of course, hosting the show for a total of 5 times, being Will Ferrell, Bill Murray, Martin Short, and Kristen Wiig. 6 times is of course Tina Fey. Chevy Chase hosted the show 8 times. Oh yeah, some pretty interesting stuff here. Um, the original um, the original cast of Saturday Night Live, they were referred to as the not ready for primetime players. Another fun fact. um, I'm not going to go through the entire list of names of cast members who have hosted, who have been a cast member, because it's a really long list. and we don't have time for that. Um, However, I will say, as far as Kenan Thompson, though, he is, as I said, he is still on the show, the longest running, being um, being a cast member for 22 seasons now. His first season being going all the way back to 2003. Um, geez, um, um, so there have been so the shortest tenures of um, from SNL never made it really on air. Um, Catherine O'Hara was hired in 1981, quit before appearing on the air. She has sub- and she has hosted the show twice. Shane Gillis was announced as a cast member back in 2019, but the offer was withdrawn due to controversy surrounding his past use of racial stereotypes. Gillis went on to host the episode 12 of season 49. 8 months after Gillis hosted the show, executive producer Lorne Michaels revealed that the decision to fire Gillis was not his and was forced by him by NBC executives. Um, One person that was credited as a cast member but did not actually appear on the show as such. Emily Prager was hired as part of Embersol's temporary season 6 cast following the termination of Jean uh, Dumanahan. She was credited for one episode even though she did not appear on the show, as her skit was cut after dress rehearsal. She was not chosen for season 7 of the show. Fraser worked as a writer on the show and also made several appearances in sketches prior to being officially named as a member of the cast. Um, It's getting cold. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let me see how long this. Okay, George Coe, Tom Tom Schiller, Ellen Zweigel, Laurie Metcalf, who plays Jackie on the Connors, and Emily Prager both appeared in one episode. Um, Dan Vitale has appeared in two episodes. Michael O'Donoghue and Jim Downey appeared in three. Ben Stiller, Morwenna Banks, and Fred Wolf all uh, appeared in four episodes. Peter Aykroyd, which is fun fact, Dan Aykroyd's younger brother, uh, and Yvonne Yvonne Hudson both appeared on SNL in six episodes. Matthew Lawrence was appeared in eight episodes, as well as Patrick Weathers. Um, Paul Schaefer, Robert Smigel, and Sarah Silverman all appeared on been in 10 episodes. Fun fact about Paul Schaefer, though, um, he was the band's pianist for 5 seasons. He joined the cast during season 5, being credited sporadically throughout the season, but left with the rest of the original cast and writers after the finale. He hosted SNL in 1987, making him the only member of the house band to do so. Um, Robert Smigel, fun fact about him, he was a longtime writer of SNL who appeared occasionally uncredited until becoming a featured player for the 1991-92 season. He remained on the show through the 92-93 season before leaving to be head writer of Late Night with Conan O'Brien. Smigel returned to write his TV Funhouse segment in 1996 until 2008, but did not come back to the cast. He was only credited during the opening montage for 4 episodes in his first season as feature player and for 6 episodes in his second season. Um, Tom Davis, Gilbert Gottfried, Anne Ricey, Charles Rocket, and Damon Wayans all had had appeared in 12 episodes. Interesting fact about Damon Wayans. He was hired for season 11 as a featured player, but he was fired mid-season for improvising on air. I guess that was a no. He returned as a guest to perform stand-up comedy in season 11's last episode and hosted SNL in 1995. Um, Charles Rocket, interesting fact about him, he joined the cast for season 6 and was fired as part of the mid-season overhaul after having said fuck on air in one episode prior. So he was the first SNL cast member to drop the F bomb on the air. And Jenny Slate would be number 2. I don't know who else would ever say that. um, so yeah, Gilbert Gottfried and Anne Risley were also fired as part of the mid-season overhaul. Mm. Oh boy. Um, let's see. Okay. Uh, Denny, Janine Garofalo appeared in 14 episodes, but quit mid-season. She joined the cast during season 20, but quit mid-season due to creative differences. Michaela Watkins joined the first episode after the 2008 United States. She joined the show. Michaela Watkins. She joined the show on the first episode after the 2008 United States U.S. presidential election that was let go before the start of season 35. Um, um, let's see. Jenny Slate. Um, Jenny Slate joined the cast of Saturday Night Live for the 2009-2010 season. In her first episode, she accidentally said "fucking" during her debut sketch, which was heard on the live broadcast. Removed from Ring. Um, but yeah. Um, Despite rumors to the contrary, she was not fired from SNL because she dropped an F bomb. Um, but she opened up saying that she didn't click. Yeah, no, yeah, very interesting stuff. Um, so let's see. Let's see. Um, Denny Dillon. Um, Denny Dillon. She became. She was the first. Um, she was the first lesbian to be an SNL cast member, as I mentioned before, during uh, being Denitra Vance, being the second. Um, so yeah, very interesting stuff. A lot of also controversial segments. Also being a part of SNL. Being of course a lot of there were some of course racial stereotypes as well. Um, Rob Schneider um, playing various uh, ethnic stereotypes. Um, and oh, excuse me. And of course, um, um, and then of course, who? How can we forget the Canteen Boy sketch where Alec Baldwin, who was hosting at the time, he was a camp counselor and started becoming immature, being a little too touchy feely towards Canteen Boy, and that was one of the most controversial um, episodes or sketches. There was also moments where SNL almost got canceled due to various guests. One being Martin Lawrence did a monologue so offensive and disturbing that in reruns you would see um, they had to block that that particular monologue out because and addressed that they almost got fired. The show almost got canceled, and everybody would have lost their jobs because of the monologue, which was very sexist. And since then, Martin Lawrence did not was never welcomed back on the show. Um, Adrian Brody got in trouble with SNL when he was introducing a musical guest um, in one during his time when he hosted the show, and it was very offensive. Speaking of musical guests, um, we cannot we cannot forget the time when Sinead O'Connor, the late Sinead O'Connor, uh, sang a song without no without no um, without no beat, no rhythm to it, just a cappella, and ripped up the picture of the Pope. Back then it was Pope John Paul. I believe it was. Um, and yeah, she ripped it up on live television, and she was not welcomed back after that, and it was very controversial. But had I known then, and I mentioned this back when I did the obituary for Sinead O'Connor, that it was because of the fact that her religion um, was not good. Um, the less we talk about that, the better. Um, Many memorable characters um, also came out of this as well too. John Belushi being the samurai delicatessen, and there was a segment where one of the hosts of the show, one of the hosts in the show, um, basically he got cut accidentally um, by a katana sword, by a katana blade. That and so yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy times. Um, so yeah. Um, what else? And of course, memorable moments, including Chris Farley being Matt Foley, which is one of my personal favorite characters. Um, so yeah, a lot of great moments in Saturday Night Live, and and the show's going on 50 years, and uh, this October. So yeah, we're doing this early because why not? They did it, and of course more controversy comes up because there was a character on the 50th special where Tom Hanks was dressed up as a Trump supporter, and he was and this wasn't the first time that Tom Hanks dressed in that character, but it was but back but a long time ago when he did that character, he it was it was funny. It was funny. But apparently now there's a problem with it. Apparently now there's a problem with it. And to be honest with you, I've said this many times on about SNL. Let it go. Let it go. Okay. There's nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong with that. There was nothing wrong with that sketch because they've done it before, and it was funny then, and it's still funny now. So people need to get over. So technically, people need to get over it. So yeah. Um. So yeah. It's like people need to stop being butthurt just because they're poking fun at it, and you know it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. So, not really much more to say, but there's only one more thing to do before we say goodbye, and that is pretty much say goodbye to the former SNL cast members that we've lost, and yeah, it doesn't it's a big list, and so we're gonna try to breeze through this as best as we can, but um, pretty much a little biography of what we of what they were doing. So um, so we're gonna start off um, with the popular iconic John Belushi, um, founding SNL cast member. Um, made a lot of of course made a um, he had a lot of he had a lot of characters, including Jake Blues um, from the Blues Brothers band, um, Samurai. He also did a memorable. He also had a memorable moment with Belushi doing um, um, Joe Cocker, and he did. So yeah, it was a pretty good impression, and he also he also wound up doing that same bit um, when the real Joe Cocker um, performed. So yeah, it was pretty classic. Um, you know, and he passed away um, in 1982 due to a due to a drug overdose. and he will be missed. Uh, Peter Ackroyd um, is the young was the younger brother of Dan Aykroyd. Um, he was also a cast member. Um, he was also on there as a writer as well too, and his work um, earned him a an Emmy nomination in 1980 for outstanding writing in a variety of music programs. Um, he would pass away in 2021 due to complications of an untreated abdominal hernia. Um, George Coe. Um, he was only he was only he was only billed as an SNL cast member for the show's um, premiere episode. He appeared in small part. He also appeared in small parts of in several other episodes that season one, and he is credited at being the oldest member to be a cast member. The oldest cast member being at age 46 when the show premiered. Um, and he left the show after appearing 10 episodes. In 2015, he would pass away at age 86 after battling a number of illnesses, including lymphoma, and he will be missed. Tom Davis, um, he had a comedy partner role with Al Franken during their time on SNL, and they were both original um, writers when the show premiered back in 1975. And Davis remained on the show until 2003. Um, he also helped create some of the one of the iconic characters in the 1970s and 80s, including the Coneheads, which he created with Dan Aykroyd. Um, Pat, Davis passed away in 2012 at the age of 59 after being diagnosed with cancer. Um, Chris Farley, um, one of the tributes that I never had an opportunity to do, and I have to mention him. He had a lot of memorable moments during his 6 seasons. Of course, being the one I mentioned before, Matt Foley. Um, he had a good um, friendship with Adam Sandler and David Spade. Um, he did get Farley did get fired in SNL along with Adam Sandler, and he basically he idolized comedians such as John Candy, and most famously, he was his personal life was molded by his number one idol, John Belushi. He did pass away in 1997 due to a drug overdose at the age of 33. Gilbert Gottfried, we talked about him when he passed back in few years ago. Um, he, of course, as I said, he appeared in 12 episodes of Saturday Night Live, and yeah, he's still missed. Phil Hartman, one of the tragic deaths um, that we've ever heard, and Phil Hartman was a a very popular SNL cast member playing President Bill Clinton, and he also did Caveman Lawyer, which was also a funny sketch, and yeah, this was really good. Um, he passed away on uh, on May 27, 1998, when he was shot and killed by his wife, um, who who killed her who wound up killing herself after confessing to the murder. Um, Jan Hooks, which was she had an also memorable moments being of course in um, alongside Phil Hartman as Hillary Clinton. She also played Ivana Trump and Kathy Lee Gifford during her time on SNL. Um, she had um, she passed away in 2014 after being diagnosed with throat cancer and declined treatment. Norm Macdonald, we talked about him when he passed back in 2021. He was most famously noted for his weekend update bit where he would talk smack about O.J. Simpson. Um, One of his most famous impressions was, of course, Burt Reynolds during the Celebrity Jeopardy sketches. He also did Bob Dole and Larry King and David Letterman, as well as Quentin and Tarantino. Michael O'Donoghue, he was uh, one of the one of the show's first writers, and he he was a and he was the first to do the cold open along with John Belushi. Um, he passed away from a cerebral hemorrhage in 1995 at the age of 54. Gilda Radner. She had she was another um, founding cast members, and she was the first woman that Lorne Michaels hired back in 1975. And she had memorable moments as playing characters such as Baba Wawa and Rosanna Rosanna Dan. I think I got that right, but um, she would, of course, later on marry Gene Wilder after after working together in 1982 in the movie Hanky Panky. She would pass away in 1989 at the age of 42 from ovarian cancer. Charles Rocket, as we mentioned before, um, was the first to drop the F bomb on television, and he was mostly noted for being on Weekend Update um, in 1980. He passed away in 2005 by suicide. He was 56. Uh, Tony Wasato. He had a short run in being a cast member in 1981 for only one season. Um, as I mentioned before, he left SNL due to differences with executive producer Dick Ebersol and an expired contract. Um, he he passed away in 2017 from a heart attack at the age of 62. Um, Denitra Vance, um, as I mentioned before, she was the second. Um, she was the first. She was the first black actress to be on the show, on SNL, and she was also um, um, the second woman um, to be a lesbian, and though in this case her sexuality was kept private up until her passing. Um, she actually she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1991. Away. So, yeah. Um, Dan Vitale. He was one of the shortest tenured cast members, credited for only 3 episodes from 1985 to the 1986 season. Um, uh, he passed away at the age in he passed away on May 2022 at the age of 66. And lastly, Don Pardo. He wasn't a cast member, but you knew his voice. Opening the show since the initial run, since the very first season. He worked on the show for 39 seasons, and he had that voice. He was a longtime NBC employee and television announcer before Michaels hired him as the show's voice. He rarely appeared on camera, but was a constant presence on the series. Um, he also became the first announcer to be inducted into the Television Academy Hall of Fame in 2010. Um, after Don Pardo um, stepped down at the end of season 39, Don Daryl Hammond would take the reins as um, new announcer. He's still doing it to this day. And he passed away on August 18th, 2014, at the age of 90. And with that being said, um, so yeah, that is a short list and everything. And with that, they all of them are being inducted into the Channel X Hall of Fame. Not only that, um, the entire everybody from 1975 to now, including Lorne Michaels, they are all into the Channel X Hall of Fame. A lot of stuff can be said about this, and I'm actually looking at the time right now, and congratulations are in order though, to Lorne Michaels, and thank you for giving us such a wonderful moments of Saturday Night Live, whether they were good or bad or somewhere in between. We still had a great time watching that, and here's to another 50 years. Happy anniversary. With that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in to this wonderful, wonderful episode. Be sure to follow me on Blue Sky at TomDog247. If you missed any of tonight's episode, you can check it out as soon as I turn off the camera. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Comment down below. What was your best moment? What was your fondest moments of SNL? And who was your favorite character in there? I know there was a lot more, but we'll probably talk about that once the initial season of anniversary begins. So we'll talk more about this in October. Ringy dingy that bell to stay notified of what I'm going to be doing next. And be sure to support small streamers like myself by doing the most important things. By doing the most important thing that you can do for us small streamers like myself, and we'll love you forever. We'll love you more than this golden anniversary of Saturday Night Live. And there's only one way to do that. And that is face hug that subscribe button. We will see you here next week on another special episode of Channel X, because next week is Pokemon Day. And yeah, it falls right into Pokemon Day. So yeah. And so with that being said, so yeah, we're going to be doing an all Pokemon episode of Channel X. We've done it before. We're going to do it again, and yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So be sure to tune in to that. Tomorrow will be Wrestling Prime, the original Wrestling Prime. We're going to be having some discussions with that as well, and wrapping things up on Saturday with Wrestling Prime Elite. So be on the lookout for that. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming up this week. So I hope you all tune in. And there's only one way to do that, like I said, and that is to face hug that subscribe button. And till then, this is Tom Dog saying take care, so long, Peace. Have a good night, everybody. See you then.